What is up, everyone? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla stock and the overall markets. I'm going to talk about some very important levels to be watching for how things are looking, my personal opinion. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And don't forget about the Moomoo link. Deposit $100 in your guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposit $1,000 in your guaranteed 15 of them. And the offer ends in just about 7 days. Anyways, for Tesla, I just wanted to mention that Tesla's currently down 11% for the day. We are seeing a very, very big rug pull for Tesla, and this thing is continuing to once again respect this downtrend. But so far, it looks like Tesla's attempting to base at this 215 area for the past 1.5 hours. Tesla's been holding 215, so we'll just have to see how we end up reacting to these key levels. But before I break down these levels, I just want to talk about a couple of things just real quick, and then I'll break down the charts. Just remember, guys, that for today, there's not really much data coming out. We do have some bill auctions coming out at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it might cause some volatility in the markets. And then we have Bowman giving a speech later on near market close, so it's all very, very minor data. Nothing too crazy, at least thus far. On top of this, there's been a lot of talk about Tesla's margins, how they're going to be a sideshow compared to the robotaxi. And there's been a lot of hype about Tesla's robotaxi, at least moving forward. Right now, there's some concerns about their margins for the short term, especially as we're starting to see sales decline relative to what we saw year over year. And it's leading to some concerns amongst investors, especially as their EPS was below expectations. So there's a lot of fear being incited by the media. That's why Tesla's dropped quite a bit, not to mention after earnings. But despite how much Tesla has dipped, I just want to say that, things are very, very interesting for the stock. So one thing that happens in the markets is that all this news, all this data could be used as an excuse. And what's essentially happening is we have these massive institutions that are trading these stocks, moving them back and forth, and they make the news as an excuse to make their big moves. So, for example, during the last earnings report, it wasn't much different from this one, if you kind of think about it, besides the robotaxi events being delayed and just a couple of things which are a little bit more fearful for investors. Much of the data and much of what Tesla released was very similar, and yet the share price exploded. So, if Wall Street wanted to, they could have chosen or nitpicked specific pieces of data to just pump the stock based off of. Instead, they chose to do the opposite. And this is not ironic considering the fact that we already pumped so much. So they pumped Tesla like crazy, right? If you actually go back on the charts, let me just pull up the 4 hour just to show you guys what I'm talking about. They were pumping Tesla like crazy over the last couple of weeks, right? They pumped it, they pumped it, they pumped it. That kind of like priced in a lot of earnings. A lot of it was going to come out for earnings. And then what happened was Tesla pumped and pumped and pumped, started to consolidate for a bit, and then Wall Street started shorting. That's when we started to see a lot more short interest and more short volume relative to before. They were getting ready to short Tesla, and that's why they smacked this back down. And then they're going to play the same game again. Once Tesla's down to low levels, they'll start buying it up all over again. So it's just a game that they're playing, buying Tesla, selling it, and doing all kinds of crazy things. So for Tesla, we have a very, very important support. So I just wanted to call out that our 200 EMA happens to be at this 212 area, but we also have the support around 215. So this 215 to 212 area is acting as a support zone for Tesla, and we're seeing a lot of buyers stepping in trying to defend it right over there. So we have this range that's been established right now. Let me show you the levels to watch for. Um, we're going to be looking at this 219 area as our resistance. If that breaks, I'll be looking at 222, which is not that strong. The stronger level will be this area right here, this 225 area. This is where we had support, which is now becoming resistance. So 225 is going to be a bigger area if we break past 219. That's going to be a more significant resistance. 222 will be minor, and then 219 is also acting as resistance right now. For support, watch 215. If that breaks 212 is where we have strong support. That's where our 200 EMA happens to be on the 4 hour time frame. And I would anticipate that some buyers would try to defend it there as well. So in my opinion, Tesla's trying to just kind of hold up. You have to consider the fact that it's down 11%. That is like crazy, crazy downside for Tesla. And now there's some buyers trying to hold it up. So it might just continue to shuffle for some time. I don't really expect it to bounce too hard, even like crash from here. I think we're just going to shuffle very close to where we are for the rest of the day, not really do a whole lot. That's because we already dropped so much. And remember, if you were watching my video, you would have been ready for this. I warned everyone that after earnings, we would have been expecting either 220 or 270, depending on what we got. And then once we saw Tesla dipping, I did call out, more potential downside all the way down to about the 215 area. So far it's trying to base here. We are seeing some buyers defending it, but I don't expect it to like bounce extremely hard or get some kind of like a bigger rug pull from here. I just think it's going to remain stagnant, kind of stay between supply and demand. SPY, on the other hand, is still looking kind of bearish. There's been a big downtrend right here, especially after we lost 548.5. But here's our support zones. So we basically have this. We have two main supports. So one of them is 545.5. If we lose the 545 area, uh, 544 is minor support, but we have critical support at 542. The 542 area is going to be critical. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. Uh, this big yellow line down here, this is going to be our critical support on SPY. So we should, in my opinion, bounce off one of these levels, see a little rebound, but I can't tell you right now if that's going to happen from where we are. Right now, we have this support right here, which is where there's some buyers kind of defending us. So we'll have to see if this ends up holding as well. So make sure you watch this 545.5 area. If we were to lose this, I'd be looking at 544, then 542. 542 is going to be critical support. We would likely test it if we end up losing 545. So we'll see if SPY can hold this. For resistance, make sure you watch the 547 area, 548.5, then 550. As right now we're downtrending, we're still looking weak. We've dropped quite a bit on SPY, so I wouldn't be surprised if buyers trying to defend 545.5. But we'll see if that holds or not. We're just barely holding it. We kind of need to be a little bit patient right here to see if this 545 area holds. And if we do lose it, guys, just be prepared for that, just to be safe. But in my personal opinion, I think there could be a rebound coming either off 545 or 542. It's going to be one of those levels, and we'll just have to watch it just to be safe, at least based off historical reasoning. So another reason why 545 is significant is this area right here becoming the previous support. And 542 is where we have critical support, so those are going to be two areas to watch for. We'll see if 545 holds, but for now, just know that we are looking bearish, and there's no sign of a bounce quite yet. Nvidia is dipping quite a bit. Came down to fill the gap exactly as you predicted. 118, the very closest 118 area. That's going to be our support. If that fails, we have 116. We also have this resistance very close to this 120 area. As right now, watch 118, see what kind of reaction we get. For others out there, we have ES is looking a little bit more bearish. ES, in my opinion, has 5,500 as key support. We'll have to see if we hold that or not. If that fails, I think SPY will simultaneously dip. ES is still looking kind of weak. We'll see if 5,500 holds or not. So watch for that as well. On SPX, we gap down and we're actually continuing to fall. I'm going to be looking at this level right here. Let me just show you this real quick. We're at support right now at 54.75. If that fails us, we have another area to watch for around the 54.60 area, maybe a little bit lower. So watch to see if that holds or not. As of right now, we look a little bit more bearish, so just be careful. For Tesla, once again, still stuck within this range. Going back to NQ, this is also looking bearish. We have 19,400 as one of the supports. I think this could actually be testing another critical level. I think that we're going to be looking at 19,300 as another very, very critical level. As of right now, it still looks more bearish, and this is part of why the QQQ is dipping. As you guys can see, the QQQ is dipping. We actually lost 472, so our critical support is going to be close to about 468. We'll see if this holds or not. That's critical support on the QQQ. If 468 breaks, we could be dipping down to 466. If we hold this, look for 470 as resistance. As of right now, we're barely holding 468, so just be careful, guys. We're still looking bearish on the triple Q. For Bitcoin, just real quick, Bitcoin's actually rebounding a bit. We're testing resistance at 66,800. I could be looking for a little bit of an uptrend on Bitcoin. We could actually make our way back up towards 67,000. So we're actually seeing more money being pumped into crypto, especially after this drop in the markets. So I'll be looking to see if we can try to get back above 67,500. There could be a little bit more of a pump coming. For others out there, we have Aapl. Aapl lost critical support at 222. We called out 219 if that broke, and that's exactly where we are right now. So I'll be looking at 219 and then 217.64 as two supports. We have resistance at 220, not to mention 222. As of right now, we are favoring downside, so we'll have to see if the support at 219 holds. If that fails, let's watch 217.64. We're still looking more bearish. Looking at just a few more. Supermicro's looking a little bit more bearish as well, continuing to dip. Could be looking for basically the 740 area and then 720 below that. The IWM is still holding up decently. It's still fighting around its EMAs. So 219 to 220, it still has a lot of strength compared to SPY. I think it might shuffle around 219 to 220, and we might be looking for a rebound to 223 later on, but it's not ready yet. Coinbase is rejecting, failing to hold above 258. I do see this dipping to 255. For Amazon, we're kind of rejecting, could be dipping lower. We're going to be watching to see if 183 holds us. If that breaks, we'll be dipping all the way down here to 182. Still looks more bearish. I think we could revisit the 182s. For Meta, we're actually dipping a little bit more. Could be looking for a test of about 468. That's very close to where our target was. Look at resistance at 473 and then 475. As of right now, it looks bearish, so I think it might just kind of shuffle between 468 and 473. Microsoft is looking a little bit more bearish. Could be looking for a dip all the way down towards this imbalance to 432. So it's still looking bearish, guys. So is Google. 175 is a key level. We'll have to see if that could hold, but we are going to likely continue to fall. So just be very, very mindful of that and be very careful. Anyways, that is it for my video. As far as Tesla goes, we're still in this range between 219 and 215. We're still looking more bearish on Tesla. So just notes that that's what Tesla is on. We're on a bit of a downtrend. Make sure you watch 215 and 212 as key supports. Otherwise, we're still trading sideways for Tesla. We're still down quite a bit, down 11%. So it is what it is. Will Tesla bounce soon? As of right now, there's no sign of a big bounce. But watch and see if you hold 215 to 212. We could bounce off one of those levels, but we're not ready yet. I want to make that very clear. We're not ready yet. There is still risks of more downside for Tesla. We could dip a little bit more. We're not ready to bounce quite yet. All right. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys, and peace out.